Don't you just hate it when something that has been working so well for you doesn't work anymore? When that great tool, that great technique you've had to help calm your child down doesn't work because your child has just suddenly decided to change things up on you. Well, yes, our parenting toolkit's so important, and that's what I want to talk about today. Hi, I'm Michaela and welcome to Learning Life. Thank you so much for joining me today. And hey, if you like these videos, why not like, share, send me a comment, and let's just really build up Learning Life. You know what? There are so many fabulous resources out there, aren't there, to really help us as parents. Great ideas of things we can do when our children are doing different things. And we create like our parenting toolkit, right? That bag of tricks of things that we can just pull out. In this situation, I can do this. In this situation, I can do that. And have you noticed that sometimes our tools get outdated and they just don't work anymore? Like what was suddenly working now isn't. Oh my goodness, do I need to change it? What's going on? Really? Why did you have to go and change, child? Like I was doing so well. Being a parent can be so hard sometimes. We can feel overwhelmed, like with all the resources that are out there. We could feel overwhelmed with, I should be doing this or I should be doing that or this doesn't work for me. But it works for somebody else. And how do we know what's best for us though? This is where trial and error comes in, isn't it? Do I need a hammer for this or is it a spanner? We just don't know sometimes. Something that works for one of your children may not work for the other. It has to do with personality. And that's why we have these parenting toolkits. You know what? So much trial and error goes on. And thank goodness our children love us. And we love them because we're all learning this together, like absolutely learning this together. I was having a look online because I wanted to maybe get some new ideas because we've been going through some things there at home. And I'm like, what are some ideas that maybe I could try? And I saw like these lists of 100 things, 50 things, all of these different lists of I'm like, okay. And I'm reading through and I'm like, I like some of these and some of these I definitely don't agree with. And some, I'm reading these lists and they seem to contradict each other. And it's like, but you see, that's where it comes in. You'll hear me say often, we have to do what works best for us as a family. And so, yes, we need to have these different ideas. Children and their personalities, parents and their personalities. Do they clash? Do they gel? All these different things. You know what? That's the great thing, though. We can look at this and go, yeah, I like that. I would like to try that. Oh, no, I don't think that would work for me and my child. Again, because we know our children and we know that some things just aren't going to work for them. So here are some things that we could use. And yes, don't necessarily agree with some of them and some seem contradictory. But here we go. Here are some. Compliment your children. Speak words of encouragement over them. Actually, I'm a firm believer in that. I am a big believer in speaking words of encouragement over our children. In fact, I have a video on that because I believe in it that much. Avoid pampering and spoiling. Yeah, you know what? I get that. As long as it's you can hold your baby too much. Don't agree with that. Train your children. Timeouts. This, that, and the other. Be solution-driven. Be positive parents. Provide structure and boundaries. Don't give your children restrictions. So many things. And there are some great things. And, society changes, time changes, and we look and go, maybe some things that our parents did don't work now. And, as I always say, that's okay. But you know your children, and you know that they're going to change things up, right? I hope you know that. Some days I'm like, I wish you wouldn't. But this is where I have truly learned that necessity is the mother of invention when it comes to dealing with children and especially emotional outbursts. We have one in particular that is fantastic at emotional outbursts, and I find myself having to change up what to do. I actually sort of like to put a bit of humor into situations, especially when they're emotionally fraught. I actually have, in my teaching feelings video, I talk about two of them that I'd have with her. One I call the Diggle Technique, after her. And that's the scoop it out, squish it, throw it away. And that worked really great. And then we had to change it up a little bit. And we came up with fart it out. And yes, fart it out and the Diggle Technique still work until the other week. Oh yes, all of a sudden, Diggle Technique, fart it out were not working and my child was acting like an utter turd. Yes, and that is a word that we use. And I do cover that, like when I'm teaching the song about our rules, families in the song video. Yeah, I talk about, a turd. Nobody wants to be around a turd. And I felt like things rising up in me. And I could have been like, and release the mother on this child. Or I could try to diffuse the situation. And, as some of my friends know, high emotion situations, I find myself cracking jokes. And maybe it's not the best thing, but if we can maybe change that atmosphere, change the emotion of the situation, that is a good thing. Well, this day, here she is on the couch, and I'm like, what do I do? And I noticed just a straw on the floor. And again, first thought is, why can't they be putting things away? Calm down, calm down. But anyhow, I picked up this straw, and I'm looking at it, and I'm like, yes, you know what? And so I looked at Diggle again, and I'm like, you know what? You are acting like a turd. And do we like turds? No. A turd in the room stinks up the room, and nobody likes to be around a turd. Do you want to be a turd? Well, I'm going to use a chopstick today. I had my magic straw, and I said, this is my magic straw. And this magic straw can turn you from a turd into a beautiful flower. Do you want to be a beautiful flower? She's like, yes. I'm like, great. So what flower do you want to be? A rose. Great. And what color rose do you want to be? A rainbow. Great. A rainbow rose. And what do you want to smell like? And she said, strawberries and cream. I'm like, okay. So at this point, she actually has calmed down enough and she is thinking and processing. So I took my straw and I looked at her and I said, this is my word. You're no longer a turd. You are a beautiful rainbow rose that smells like strawberries and cream. Ding! And I tapped her on the head. And then it was like, oh, you do. You smell so good. You smell like strawberries and cream. And I felt her relax and I watched her relax and she smiled. I'm like, yes, because everybody wants to be around a beautiful flower. They really do. Thank you. And since then, we've had to use this new little tool, this technique, quite a few times. And what I appreciate is a few times the girls have come up to me like with the chopstick or a straw and said, Mum, I need to be a flower. Can you help me be a flower? And yes, I help them be a flower. And it's just a matter of I want them to make that choice. Do you want to act like a turd or do you want to be a beautiful flower that people want to be around? And I think that the choice is important and just taking that moment to get them to think of what type of flower, what color, and that smell gives them a moment to release the emotions. Yes, it's one of my random act of parenting. I guess, I'm trying to bring something that can diffuse the situation, make it a little bit more lighthearted, still recognizing we don't want that behavior, but let's turn it around and give you the opportunity, the choice to become that good thing. You know what? I am sure that I will keep coming up with some random acts of parenting. That's just me. I like to adapt as needed, I think the magic flower, Diggle Technique, and fart it out are there in my toolkit, and I will be using them for a while, but there is going to be time when they're not going to work, or I'm going to have to change it up again and add a new tool. And, that's great. That's what parenting is about. I get that for some of you, it might be hard to do that, and you're like, oh, in this situation, I don't know what to do. All my tools aren't working, but I'll just stick with them. Look, I get that. Hey, if you want some new ideas, I love to brainstorm new ideas. Let me know about your child and what's going on, and maybe we could come up with a fun idea together. If you like, feel free to use magic flower yourself. I just share this because I want you to see that, we can have some fun with this. Thank you so much for watching, and I really hope that this helped you. Maybe magic flower, bing, is going to work for you. And if you enjoy these videos and would love to support us, no pressure, but be a champion with Patreon so that we can get more content out and we can learn this life together. Thank you so much for watching.